Update to the affair between my wife and my stepson's dad. You can check out part 1 with the link down in the comments. 1 week later, I told her the old marriage is done. I took away our rings, our anniversary date means nothing, and I ripped up our wedding pictures. That wedding, that woman, is gone. I told her if this does work out, whenever we decide that we reached a point where I can tell her I love her again, or if I even ever do, then we can buy new rings, renew vows, whatever. I don't think you ever forgive something like this, and I know I won't forget. However, I know I can get past it. If, and only if, she becomes a woman who is worth it. I have no idea what she is right now. The woman she is being right now, and says she wants to be, is the woman I fell in love with and was married happily to for a few years. The woman she became and was unhappy with is what I want to avoid. I told her the question isn't if I can get over this. The question is she worth it? That's the $64 million question that remains to be answered. I appreciate everyone's advice. I really do. Everyone is different and no one truly knows the whole dynamic other than me. I really do not have any expectations right now. I have to do what I feel is right, even if some of you think I'm making a mistake. I know that there is going to be hell for both of us. I told her this and want to make sure she understands. I'm basically an unstable ticking time bomb. I can be fine 1 minute and filled with anger the next. It also doesn't take much to feel anger towards her. The slightest thing will do it. I'm so hardened by life that I can handle anything, short of, knock on wood, something happening to my kids. I'm going to give her a shot. We have counseling set up, and I am going to have her go to do counseling for herself also. It's going to be a very long road, and or may never happen. I have no expectations for the future. If it does happen, she will have to earn it in every way possible. Whatever happens, trust will not be earned so easily, and the words she is saying today I take with a huge grain of salt. I'm in hell right now. If she wants this to work, she's going to have to come into hell and fight her way out. I just feel, for me, this is the best option for right now. Some of you may disagree and believe I'm making a mistake, but I have to do what I feel is the best choice right now. Even though some of you may think I'm stupid to give her a chance, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing for my best interest. Believe me, I'm not going into this all gullible and blind. I have my proof, I have all my documentation. I will store it in a safe place in case it's needed. She can only add more fuel to the fire if it doesn't work out. If it does end in D, then I can go in there and prove to the judge that not only did I try everything possible to keep this family together, but more importantly I am the better provider, better parent, and the one with morals. I know a man faces an uphill battle with child custody in court. If the worst happens and or doesn't work, well, I want to make sure I go into that D fully armed. I told her I ordered a copy of all her texts and calls for the past 18 months, and I'm meeting my buddy this week for him to pull off deleted texts. I told her I know there should be a few texts from him due to talking about my stepson, but if there is an excessive amount then I think it's pretty obvious. I told her to come clean now, because the truth is coming regardless of what she says. She's sticking to her story, so I told her she's either telling the truth or she's a bigger idiot than I gave her credit for. The truth is coming though. As far as how things went, well, Saturday I sucked it up and purposely pretended like nothing happened. I acted like it was just a normal day in marriage land. It was very hard to do, but I wanted to see if I had anything left for her. Honestly, it was probably the best day we've ever spent together. Even the kids fought less than they normally do. It really was a fantastic day, even if I knew it wasn't real. Well, that night, my subconscious hit me. I had 3 of the most realistic and worst dreams I've ever had. Basically, each consisted of taking the 3 things that brought this out: her friends, her gym time, and the other man. I woke up very early yesterday feeling like I did the first night I found out. I was angry and hurt yesterday for about half a day, until I finally told myself to suck it up and be strong and don't let this break you. To be clear, I purposely repressed everything she had done for one day to see what life could be like. Of course, right now, she is acting like the woman and wife I always wanted her to be. Whether she stays like that is an entirely different story. It's just funny how my subconscious didn't get the memo on Saturday about me just pretending for the day. It wanted to make sure I wasn't being serious. Those dreams were the most realistic I've ever had. They were filled with such symbolism it was very interesting picking them apart. Comments. I don't understand all of the discouragement here. Yes, his wife did a horrible thing. She was incredibly selfish, cared nothing for her husband or family, and broke a sacred promise that can never again be 100% restored. With that said, we here know that people can screw up royally and come back from it in a strong and permanent way. People can have that epiphany, if you want to call it that, or realization of how much they screwed up and truly commit to restoring the marriage, rebuilding it stronger than it was before. Yes, of course, a mended fence is just that, a broken fence that has been repaired as best as possible but will always show signs that it was once broken and might never be quite as sturdy as it was before it was broken. But can a very strong mended fence not still stand up to future threats and storms? I'm not trying to get all philosophical here, but it sounds to me like his wife has done pretty much everything right since D-Day. Or at least there isn't much more I could think of to ask for or insist on from her. I'm guessing that most marriages that are hit by adultery are usually doomed. There is absolutely plenty of justification for doubting the OP's chances of successful reconciliation and or his wife's ability to truly change for the long term, even with her doing everything right so far. With that said, why would we here fill this thread with post after post insisting that he should give up any thought of reconciliation? That there is no hope for his wife? That they are 100% doomed? Etc. I just can't understand the justification for that incredibly pessimism. We want to make sure that the OP understands what signs he should look out for, that the odds of this second chance being successful are low, what kind of tactics he should consider holding her accountable, etc., so that he'll be best capable of protecting himself and his family one way or the other. But once the OP has been fully informed, I just don't understand all of the incredible negativity. You're hoping for the best possible outcome for your family. That's an honorable goal. You have received some very good advice about how to proceed, and to have the best chance at a successful or the idea of cracking her prior text to ascertain her truthfulness is not a bad idea. But, because there are many ways to circumvent text footprints, I know you don't think her capable of doing this. But did you think her capable of cheating? You should really employ the poly or at least the threat of one. This is to ensure that you aren't just spinning your wheels through TT. Anyway, in many jurisdictions, once you accept her and attempt R, she will be off the hook legally speaking. That is, you will be legally viewed as having accepted, forgiven her betrayal and will be, from a legal standpoint, starting with a clean slate. So, in the meantime, she is strengthening her position at attaining full custody with all the benefits of financial support. Who knows, in a few months she may have you severed with divorce papers from out of the blue, with a much stronger hand to play. That is why you should press for as much as you can now. Some posters have advocated obtaining a very favorable D now, and let her prove herself post-D. That's not a bad strategy. At any rate, since you're going to MC next week, please be careful with the MC's approach. There are some horrendous MC in the field. One way to spot one right off the bat is if the MC presses for or advocates any of these. And if the MC does suggest all of these, just walk out and find a different one. 1. The affair was really partly your fault. 2. You need to work at winning back your errant spouse. 3. You need to move on and forgive quickly to save the marriage. 4. The affair is a marriage problem, not the errant spouse's personal failing. Wishing you strength, insight, and success. 1 month later update. I don't even know why I did it. This is the answer I always get when I ask my WW about her affair. And specifically, the moron she had it with. I mean, this guy is a loser in every sense of the word, and not only did she betray me, but she betrayed her son. I was just wondering if any wayward out there just doesn't have an explanation why they had an affair. I don't know why a valid reason. I've gone through my mind over and over, and I cannot come up with one single reason why she would have an affair. And more specifically, with the loser she did it with. The hardest part of R, for me, is the internal conflict I have. I myself feel that I am letting her get away with it. It's been about a week and a half since she's seen me trigger. Yesterday I triggered because it's been a week and a half and I felt like she was getting away with it. The other man was the very definition of my antithesis. They have a son together. He is an absentee father at best. Deadbeat half the time. I am a family man, taking their child and loving him as my own. In fact, out of the three of us, I'm the only one who had their child's best interest at heart. He also had the affair when his wife was pregnant. He is a complete loser, can't hold a job, relies on his current wife for everything. I am successful and rely on myself to get things done. He is completely irresponsible, and cannot possibly be considered a man in any sense of the word. So yeah, she picked complete antithesis. Maybe in her mind she wasn't risking anything. All I know is that whatever her state of mind was for the past year, she was heading for a dive off the deep end. She was really getting some crazy ideas in her head before I found out about the affair. I can call it a MLC or whatever I want, but she really had an altered sense of reality. Am I a sucker? Some may call me that. I myself struggle with that every day. If I'm a sucker though, every single person who reconciles is too? I guess. Some of you respond to me like I'm at home being a doormat and doing everything for this woman. It's not like that at all. I'm constantly one step away from walking away. Just because I choose to reconcile with my wife does not make me a sucker. Trust me, if she ever shows any of those past behaviors or hides anything from me, I can walk away knowing I did all I could to keep my family together. That's all I can ask of myself. I smashed her phone out of anger on D-Day. Look, I'm not stupid enough to believe it was one time, and I told her that. When I decided to R, it was under the conditions that I knew that it was an IA that turned into a PA on more than one occasion. Regardless of what she says, I came to terms as if it was multiple times. I told my wife that I'm not promising her anything past the current day. I told her that she needs to prove to me that she loves me every damn day, and even then, it may not be enough. I told her I think I can get past this, but I'm not entirely sure I can. She is not a proven serial cheater. She has been extremely remorseful. I'm actually been quite surprised at the level of remorse she has shown. Even looking at it with my highly skeptical eyes, I firmly believe her remorse is honest. My wife has low self-esteem. She loves being the center of attention. Her self-worth comes from external feedback. Like I said, her whole mindset, attitude changed completely. Even before the affair, I had friends asking me if she was having an MLC due to her complete change in lifestyle. I always supported her, loved her, complimented her, never neglected her or made her feel ugly. However, I guess it's much more powerful to someone other than your spouse compliments you. Damn you look good coming from me was something I was supposed to say, as her husband. Damn you look good coming from the fed her need for external validation. I'm sure she felt excitement, danger, and loved the attention, and that's why she cheated. This had nothing to do with me. She was broken. When we first were dating, I found 2 pictures of her ex. One was a decent-looking guy, who turns out was actually engaged to her. He called it off because he told her he could do better. The other, which was the one just before I came into the picture, was another complete loser. I was surprised she would date someone like that at the time. So yeah, she has a history of dating losers. I wouldn't call her a loser. She is successful and has actually done a lot in her life. I think in her mind though, she thinks she is a loser, and these idiots are indeed what she is comfortable with. Nothing will change the fact that it happened. Like I said earlier, she betrayed her son more than she did me. She is paying a price, and I am judging every bit of remorse she shows. The who's, what's, and why's don't matter at this point. What's done is done, and I either accept it or leave. Initially I stayed for the kids. I wasn't ready to rip their lives apart. She has shown extreme remorse and is acting like the woman I married. To the poster who didn't understand staying for the kids. If she screws up, I will leave without hesitation. Why would the next time be different? Because I can walk away knowing I did all I could to save my family. If I waste a year or 2 over this, and she screws it up, at least my daughter will be older and able to understand. She would have no idea why mommy and daddy left if it happened right now. I'm not doing that to her. So, if sacrificing for your kids is being a sucker, well, I guess I'm a sucker. I love my kids and I think I can get past this. So, the choice is leave without trying and break up my family, or sacrifice the present for hopes of a future. Yeah, I will sacrifice for my kids, and if it doesn't work out, I can look my kids in the eye when they are older and tell them I always loved them and always put them first. Even above me. I treated her right. I wasn't a perfect husband, but this woman was treated right. Her own father didn't talk to her for a few weeks after finding out because he knows how well I treat her and the kind of man I am. Anyways, after reading some of the responses, I kind of blew up yesterday. Sometimes being on this forum isn't the best thing. Anyways, I brought up the affair to her again, and basically, I got a few things out of it. 1, I gave her too much freedom, and along with all her young, single friends, she became intoxicated with that lifestyle. The MLC didn't help, but I guess that's the reason she went after younger friends to hang with. Family life was boring, while the single life was fun and exciting. She disconnected from me and the kids. She told me she loved me, she just didn't like me. This isn't the first time she told me this, so I guess this was the reason all along. It's basically the I love you, but I'm not in love with you speech. She brought up all the fighting we used to do, but then she told me that she now sees that it was her all along that was causing the fights. She projected all her guilt and negativity onto me. She was angry and didn't like me to protect herself from the guilt. She said the disconnect and not liking me was more about her selfishness and guilt rather than anything I did. She told me she knows I was there for her and never neglected her. I just didn't feel a need of being single, fun, and exciting. All along while the other man was coming over to pick up my stepson, he was hitting on her on my front porch. She loved the attention, it fed her low self-esteem and low self-worth. It was exciting, which is what she craved. The kids and I were just there, somewhat of a burden to the exciting lifestyle she wanted to lead. So here we are. She has been extremely remorseful and is doing everything possible to make it up. I haven't forgiven her, and I told her that I'm not guaranteeing her anything past today. Every day is a struggle, and it's going to be a very long and hard road to recovery. For those of you who say staying for the kids is just an excuse, well, that's a bunch of crap. That's the best reason for me to stay. I'll put my children's happiness and well-being above my own any day. Bottom line, she made a mistake. Granted, it's the worst possible mistake she could have ever made. But I think I can get over it. She was a loving and caring wife. There was a definite line where the MLC happened, and her attitude completely changed and she became a totally different person. During this time, when we would argue, she would tell me, well, you knew how I was before you married me, to which I would reply, hell no I didn't, otherwise I never would have married you. That's the key. It's not like she was a complete bitch from the day I met her. She turned into something awful when this MLC hit. The person she is being today is the person I fell in love with, married, and loved like crazy for the first 6 years of our marriage. Now, the thing is, I've agreed to stay and work it out. I initially stayed for the kids. They kept me from walking out the door the day I found out. I want things to work out between us. I still love her, although now my love for her is fighting against anger, hate, and disgust I feel towards her too. I laid down the law with her. I told her exactly what I want from her, and she's either going to give it to me, or I'm going to leave. I haven't promised her anything other than today. I told her our marriage is day to day, and only her consistent, loving actions over time will change that. She knows that the burden is on her to unharden my heart and remove the hate, anger, disgust that is in there now and refill it with pure love. She cannot hurt me anymore. All I have to lose is a little time if things don't work out. I'm still young and my kids deserve it from me to give it a shot. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. One day my daughter will ask why we got divorced, and my wife will have to face the shame of telling her why. I will be able to tell her that I loved her more than myself, and I did everything in my power to keep her in a loving home with her parents. My wife will have to live with the shame of knowing she put herself above her children, especially my stepson. I will have shown my kids how to love, stand up to adversity, be strong, and fight for the people you love. Yeah, I can live with that. I haven't told his wife. He told me he would give up his son if I didn't tell her. This father is screwing his second son before he was even born. My stepson hates him now. He told my wife he wants him dead. So, my bind is the best way to keep him away and not subject my stepson to him is to keep quiet. I told him when I talked to him that I know everything about his wife. I have all her contact info, both personally and professionally, and can reach her at any time. I have undeniable evidence too. I have all his personal info. He's a loser who can't keep a job and has bad credit. He needs his wife to survive. Even his side business is really hers. I seriously doubt he will ever come around. The risk is too great and the reward is too little. He never cared about his son, and my wife was just an easy piece off ass to him. If he ever does come around, I will ruin him financially, emotionally, and basically take everything he has away from him. His wife was always jealous of mine because she was the ex. She never treated my stepson right because of it. If she finds out he cheated with my wife while she was pregnant with their first, she would probably ex him. So, the best NC here is to keep quiet. If I did tell her, legally I have no right to keep him away. I doubt he has the guts to come around. But that's not something I want to deal with. I told him he better pray that we are. If not, it's open season on him. I would hate to live with knowing another man could destroy me anytime he wanted. Let him live with that fear. Right now, I don't give a damn about anyone other than myself. I never liked his wife anyway, so I couldn't care less about what she needs. She treated my stepson like crap and always made ugly comments to him about her donor husband having to pay child support, and would tell my stepson she couldn't figure out why his mother needed money from him. She married the loser. She knows he is one. Let her deal with it. I don't want this POS coming around. This is a unique situation to where legally I can't stop him from coming every other weekend to pick up my stepson. If he values his wife over his son, well then so be it. All I know is I don't have to deal with him and possible consequences of my actions if I ever see him at my front door. 1 month update. Some new info. Was talking to a mutual friend. Apparently, a few days after D-Day I was very pissed and started packing. She got off work and went to her parents to pick up our daughter and was extremely distraught at me leaving. Apparently, she called a mutual friend and spoke to the wife. Well, I called the husband today just to see what he was up to. He asked about how things were going, and he told me he wanted to tell me something but to keep quiet about it. My wife had told his wife all about the affair that day. She was distraught. She said how stupid she was and she hated herself immediately afterwards. She said she did it because she couldn't talk to me, and he would listen to everything, and he started noticing her new trim body and would always compliment her. Really, I always listened and always complimented her. She also said she hates the guy and wishes he would be gone, and she just liked the attention he was giving her. She said she never had feelings for him and regrets it all. She also said she got caught up with the young single friends and loved getting to do things she missed out on when she was younger due to being a single mom. She regrets hurting me and said it was the biggest mistake of her life, and she hates herself. I still can't believe she needed attention and didn't think I listened to her. Well, at least I got some insight. 1 month update. My stepson never wanted to see him, and we had to force him to go. The only time this punk wanted to pick up his son was on Father's Day so he could be honored as Dad of the Year. As a matter of fact, when my stepson mustered the courage to tell him he didn't want to see him, his response would be, "Oh, you are coming because I pay your mom child support." It was never "I love you" or "I miss you." He came because he was forced to pay, and this was his way of punishing my wife. We're talking about a man who would sell his visitation to us if my wife gave him back his child support. In fact, this is what led to me finding out about them. Let's not forget that he voluntarily threw his son away to save his sorry ass. I never mentioned never seeing him. That was the first thing he offered to do to save his back. So no, there is nothing this punk can bring to my son's life other than teaching him how not to be a man, to which he has done an outstanding job. My stepson hates him with a passion, going so far to tell his mom he wants to ex him. As far as sex, we are in HB phase. We will see how long these lasts. I decided to give her her freedom back. I told her to join a gym, giving her Facebook back, getting her cell back too. I figure I will give her a rope, and if she hangs herself with it, so be it. She cannot hurt me if she chooses to return to her old ways, and even if she cheats, I will bring the hammer down hard and she will be facing one ugly divorce. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. She has been extremely remorseful and is back to being the woman I married. Regardless of what happens, I know I will be all right. From what I gathered from her, she shut me out emotionally and projected all her issues onto me to keep her guilt at bay. She said that was the reason we argued so much. Why she blamed me for every argument when even the kids were telling her it was her fault. And why what little sex we had was just duty sex to keep me quiet. To be perfectly clear, I stayed initially because of the kids, and while they are a deciding factor in my they are not the sole reason. I do love my wife still, but my heart is now filled with anger and resentment as well. I hate that feeling of her getting away with it, but if we have a successful she will have paid a heavy price. Even if we are successful, she has lost a piece of me she will never get back. I will never fully trust her. I will never love her like I did. I will never blindly do the little things that made her life easier. She lost respect in my eyes and her son's eyes, and she will have to live with that guilt for the rest of her life. It's been just under 2 months since D-Day. I don't feel pain anymore. Not the slightest bit. Anger, yes, very much, but no pain. She cannot hurt me any further, and if I ever feel in the slightest that she does not love me, or if she slips back to her old ways, I will not hesitate to leave. Ever since my daughter was born, my life changed. Everything I do for her. There are always 2 things I wanted for her. The first is when she decides to marry someone. I want her to say that she's looking for a man who looks at me the way my daddy looked at my mom. Sadly, my wife ruined this part, but I hope one day to get it back. The second is when I die, and she is speaking at my funeral. I want her to be able to look up and say my daddy did everything he possibly could to give me the best life and make me happy. I want to be the greatest man she will ever know, one who all men will be measured against. Every decision I make reflects this. I know I can be happy with my wife again if she is truly back to being the woman I married and stays that way. I will not subject my child to a home filled with hate and resentment. I stayed because of the kids, because I knew I would try everything to provide them with a loving home. I believe we can do this. If we can't for some reason, then I would rather divorce than have her grow up in an angry home. I've told my wife she has been blessed by me with a second chance. There will not be a third. If she screws up again, she will be out on her ass, and I can walk away knowing I did all I could for my family. No regrets either way. Our home right now is actually more loving than it's been in a couple of years. I remember one of my first posts on here was about feeling unappreciated by everyone in my family. What hurt the most was my daughter being that way too. She was always loving to her mother, and not towards me. The one thing I have noticed since D-Day is that my daughter has completely changed too. She has been much more loving towards me now that she sees her mother being that way too. Just another thing I told my wife about how destructive her attitude was. I initially stayed for the kids, but I wouldn't stay if the atmosphere at home was angry and hostile. I don't want them growing up like that. So far, my wife has done a complete 180 back to the woman she was before her MLC attitude change, and my daughter is reacting to it in a good way. 3 months update. I busted my wife on D-Day by her cell phone, which had texts to and from the OM in anger. I ended up throwing her phone and breaking it. Here it is a few months into and things are going well. Her not having a cell is inconvenient, and I've been wanting to get one. Our contract still has a few months to go, so we can't upgrade yet. I'm still paying for both lines, and just got an email for an early upgrade. Thing is, she seems very hesitant to get a phone. It just strikes me as odd. Why is she hesitant? I don't know why it's bothering me. I would think she would want one again, but the fact that she's so hesitant is making me think paranoid thoughts. When I confronted the other man, the first words out of his mouth were not to tell his wife and he would vanish out of our lives forever. His sons included. No hesitation, no remorse, just threw away his son to save his sorry back. He had the affair while his wife was 8 months pregnant. What a man. My stepson never had a real relationship with him. For all intents and purposes, I was his father in every way. Still, it can't be easy to know your bio father threw you away to save his ass. I knew it had to hurt. Finally, he blew up this past weekend in the worst way possible. I had to physically restrain him as it got pretty ugly. He finally let it all out about how hurt he was that his father abandoned him. He felt like he lost both families because he doesn't consider us a family anymore. I tried my best to let him know it had nothing to do with him. I told him his father wasn't a man. It takes a man to raise a man, I told him. Also told him it takes a special kid to make another man love him like his own. So my wife finally saw the full extent of the destruction that she caused. Of course, she was crying her eyes out the whole night and kept saying, "Look what I've done, and I'm the cause of all this." Of course, having to talk about that clown triggered me pretty hard as well. It took everything I had not to dump on my wife, as she was blaming herself. Oh, but I wanted to so very bad. So that leads me to an interesting crossroads. I know that clown won't ever come see the boy. Not only does he have to worry about me, but he knows that my stepson will rat him out to his wife. If I tell his wife and after the dust clears, how will I handle having to see this clown every other week if he decides to see his son? I can't imagine how hard it will be for my stepson in such a hostile environment. My wife really created the worst possible situation for everyone. She finally saw how destructive her behavior was. I said all along, she betrayed my stepson much more than she betrayed me. Sad thing is, if we did divorce, she would probably still get custody of my daughter just because she is female. It's sad that people never consider the consequences of their actions before it's too late. Half a year later, my job of 10 years came to an end when the business shut down. To say this has been the hardest year of my life is a severe understatement. As far as my marriage, I can honestly say that things have been great the past year between us. She has shown me over the past year how much she regrets what she did and how sorry she is. Her actions have been consistent, and she has done what she needed to do to start fixing what she broke. For years later, I primarily stayed because of my then 4-year-old child. I wasn't prepared to destroy my child's world. The issue now at hand is my 20-year-old stepson. He is extremely disrespectful, lazy, and of very low intelligence. My wife has always been a very lousy parent. She doesn't take the time to discipline. She couldn't care less about their education. And she is very selfish to truly spend time with them. She is such an enabler of my stepson that I can't ask anything of him without her protecting him from me. Ask him to cut the yard. Nope. Ask him to help clean up the house. Nope. Ask him to be responsible enough to watch his 9-year-old brother. Nope. As much as I have tried to help him, my wife protects him at every turn. I can't ask anything of him. I can't place expectations on him. I can't get mad at him for anything he does without it causing a huge fight between my wife and me, As much as I hate to say it, he is a loser in every sense of the word, and that will never change until my wife does. He is and will continue to be a financial burden on us for the rest of his life. With his low intelligence and desire for meds, I don't see how he could ever be a productive and self-reliant adult. After another fight today, which was caused by me telling her that it's not right that me, her, and my 9-year-old are cleaning the house while he sleeps till noon, I've reached a boiling point. On top of my issues with her, having to deal with this kid is getting too much. He can disrespect anyone in this house at any time without consequence. He does nothing to help, constantly fights with my 9-year-old. And he's just not a kid you want to be around. My options are to stay and put up with it or leave. Honestly, if it weren't for our child, I would have left years ago. I'm so afraid how my child will turn out with her having custody. Right now, the kids are night and day difference. She cannot protect our child the way she thinks she does hers. I spend time with my child. I sit down and help with homework. I have expectations of my child, and it shows. I fear what will happen if she is left in charge. I fear that me divorcing her will damn my child to the same result my stepson is. I just don't know what to do. If I knew I could get full custody, I'd be gone in a heartbeat. I just can't shake the feeling that I'd be damning my child if my wife got custody. That's why I've been putting up with this marriage for so long. I feel so trapped and need advice. I don't want my child looking up to him at all. I know this kid will crash and burn, and I fear it will cost me huge financially. On top of that, he is an embarrassment to have around, and his piss-poor attitude, disrespect, and horrible hygiene issues are a bad reflection on me. The kicker is my wife knows he's a loser. She knows it for a fact. She lacks the change. I don't know if it's guilt or what, but I don't understand how she can just watch her child go down in flames and do nothing. She honestly thinks he is a normal 20-year-old who will one day be a success on his own. I have tried so hard to stay out of it, but I just can't do it as a parent. To top it off, this is really causing me to hate my wife. I honestly don't even think I love her anymore. I'm pretty much here for the sake of my child, and I do all I can to put my stepson and wife idiocy to the side and deal with it. I have tried the positive approach. Didn't have much success. I've tried giving him goals and rewards. Didn't work. Tried motivating him and nothing works. I've done everything I can. Problem is, he wants everything handed to him on a platter. He wants maximum rewards with the smallest efforts. I understand teenage laziness and attitude. This is more. I do worry about his future, and I know his issues can be corrected. That's where the whole issue lies. Instead of placing expectations on him, instead of placing goals and rules, my wife just wants to be his enabling buddy. He tells us duck off, she won't do anything. He brings meds in the house, she doesn't care. The whole thing isn't about me being mean or negative to him. It's a parent who refuses to be a parent, and just enables versus a step-parent who actually parents. I don't find his behavior and status in life acceptable. She does. Sorry, but I have higher goals for my children. Yeah, I've considered putting money aside. I don't want to dislike this kid, far from it. It's just so hard having an ungrateful and such disrespectful person living with you. He breaks most everything he's given, and his response is I don't take care of anything in this house because it's not mine. At this point, my concern is getting full physical custody of my child. I have access to his Instagram where he posts pictures of him drinking and doing other things. I've taken pictures of things I find in his room. He has a long history of problems in school, and his actual education level is very telling. I tried so hard to raise him and teach him, but with my wife fighting me and making me the bad guy all the time, it got to a point where it had to be saving him or saving my marriage. Everything was a fight. I treat my son exactly the same way when they were the same age, but the difference is, I have the final word with my child. The difference between them is night and day even at the same age. With him, she had the final word in what he is now. My comment, OP, you chose a life of repetition of chaos. There is no coming back, you are so out of it. Please teach your young ones to be a more respected man. If you continue the path you are on right now, they will be exactly like you. Comment down what you think about this ending, and I'll be back with another one.